Good evening. As part of KFAS's efforts to promote science, technology, and innovation to the private sector, we have a speaker series here that we host. And in it, we bring in speakers from all around the world to share their diverse expertise with you. We're happy to have Mr. Henrik Von Scheel with us today. Henrik is the expert on the Industrial Revolution and will today talk about how to merge the digital, physical, and virtual world and how to implement Industry 4.0 in Kuwait. So please help us to welcome Mr. Henrik Von Scheel.
How are we doing? So I think I will be here around, I'll take an hour, 1.5, 2 hours, depending on the interaction. I will make it quite interactive. It's a heavy topic, and I will make it practical for you. So anybody of you who wants to see what I draw on the board, I recommend now is the good time to come a little bit forward, because when you're sitting behind, you really can't see what I'm drawing. I will go through some models, because what I wanted to do for you is the fourth industrial revolution. The centerpiece of this is you as a human being. And that's why I will make it a little bit practical. And in some pieces, I will turn it a little bit interactive, so you know how to apply it for yourself, what's coming, and what it will mean for you. So in the beginning, I will give you the normal introduction on the fourth industrial revolution. I will highlight to you the paradigm shifts, what it's bringing, and then I will highlight how you can apply it. How you can apply it when you're in the government, how you can apply it when you have a business, and how you can apply it when you are an entrepreneur. So this is also a good time where you say, Henrik, you know what I really want to hear? I want to hear something about the next wave of operational excellence, or I want to hear something of this, or this and this. Because I'm flexible, I can take the different angles, but if some of you are really burning with a topic where you say, we need to know this. So now is a good time, just bring it up, I'll write it on a board so I make sure I have it. You wanted to hear something about digitalization? Right there, yeah, the woman behind you. You want to hear about digitalization and how that came? Good. How many of you want to hear something about artificial intelligence? Good. We'll cover that too. Blockchain? Good. Okay, good. How many of you have...
You usually also talk about the difference between process and flow.
Okay. Okay, good. I will cover that, yeah. Very good. How many of you have your own business? Good. How many of you work in the government? Yes. How many of you are working for a company? Good. Okay. Let's get it on. So, so we got this very cool pointer here. I'm very excited. Good. So, I want to cover a little bit topic, and it's mostly about you. So the reasons why I will show a little bit what's here. People know me best as the originator of the fourth industrial revolution and the mastermind of the digital revolution. But what my expertise is strategy and competitiveness. I'm an educated, I'm a horse butcher. I wanted to go to university first, and my dad, he really didn't want to send me there. So he said, you need to do something practical. At that time, my dad didn't believe in university. It was all, theoretical stuff. You need to have a practical, you need to be a baker or something else. So I took the shortest education possible, 6 months, a horse butcher. So that's the first education I started with. Then I took an education as a medical doctor. And so in Denmark, you have the chance to take many educations. The reasons why I'm telling you this is that we are in the phase of our life where many of you will go through many transitions of skills. You have one core element and you'll maybe end up something else. So your core element of what you are is not defined by the education you have. That's really important. So I also wanted to add a little bit of a personal story here. And the part of the personal story I want to tell you here is that when I was very young, my parents got divorced. I was in a very dark space in my life, and I was starting to stutter a lot, and I'm quite dyslexic. People don't know that, but I'm very dyslexic. It means I have a difficulty to read loud or read content loud, and names are also a difficult thing for me. So I got in normal school. I got out of that school into a special school.
How old were you?
I was around 12 years there. So this is, I came to a special school, and when you're a boy at 12 years old, the hormones are just bullering in all your body, and you cannot concentrate on school, and your brain is on fireworks. And so I came to a special school, and I had a German teacher who had terrible breath. Seriously, somehow all teachers have this coffee breath, and he was using every day 1 hour on me, where he used time on me. He came from the Second World War. He was a prisoner in Russia. So all his family was dead. So he was a teacher in Denmark. Half of his face was filled with grenade splitter. So he used 1 hour a day on me in terms of overcoming my dyslexia. And 1 year after that, he sent me back to normal school, and he told me, Henrik, there's nothing wrong with you. You just think differently. So when you think differently, try to use this for your advantage. Good. So many years later, for me now it's nearly 12 years ago, I went to his funeral. Now, I was the only one at his funeral. I wished I had the ability to really tell him the gift he has given me, the investment he has done in me. Now, the reasons why I'm telling you the story before I go to the Fourth Industrial Revolution, because the Fourth Industrial Revolution is about you who sit here. Everybody of you have an individual story. Everybody of you have a dream. Everybody of you have an ambition. And everybody of you has abilities and capabilities. And the Fourth Industrial Revolution is the biggest change that is on mankind. Nobody has experienced so much change. So the key element that we need as human beings, and that's why the human beings is the centerpiece of the Fourth Industrial Revolution, it's our ability to adapt to the changes that are coming. It's our ability to use it in the way that are there. And that's why I will use some content, but then I will actually go into, we will use some exercise. So we will do it a little bit interactive. It was important for me to tell a personal story, to make it personal, because this will hit you and your life. If you don't feel it's hitting you, everything you do on social media, cryptocurrency, the shared world is already hitting you quite well. So this is just the beginning, and it's coming at exponential speed. Okay, by the way, I promised my wife next year is my last book. And she was laughing. But next year is my last book. I promise. This would be the final book, and I hope that KFAS can be part of it. It will also be the final and last book. I will make sure that it's in Arabic, because it would be so simple that everybody can reapply it. And that's really important for me, because if not, it's difficult. Good. Let's start on this. In 2009, when I had a little bit more hair in my head, I was asked by the Chancellor, Angela Merkel, to actually do the strategy. I did the strategy with Henrik Kagermann and Professor Scheel. They're giants. Professor Scheel is from SAP, the co-founder. Henrik Kagermann. Professor Scheel is our co-author of the Thinking of Process Thinking. So they're big giants. So they took me in because I know German. They also both know me from the projects I've been working on and the SAP methodology and so on. But I was the guy, the front figure, that they pushed forward because I'm Danish, I knew German. To be a prophet in your own city in Germany is not a good idea. So they pushed me in because I was a little proactive, I was young, I was engaged. And we were looking at the strategy. So what we normally do in strategies, we gather all the big players in Germany that produce the biggest amount of revenue. So 90% of the GDP, companies came. So BMW, Mercedes, Bosch, Honeywell, all the big guys, really, really big guys. And we were focusing on how can Germany re-establish their productivity level. So in order to grow, you need to have your productivity level up and running. And you have to think about Germany is the engine of Europe. They're like the pumping heart, like boosh, boosh, boosh. If Germany is not getting the productivity level up and running, Europe is in troubles, not just a little bit, in big, big troubles. So that just gives you the element to see how big Germany really is there. So we discovered that 5 trends are colliding into one. So if one trend is colliding, a company has 3-4 years to react, and it works easily, no problem. But if 5 trends collide at the same time, it gives an exponential element to it, exponential force. So you have 5 elements in it. And what we discovered, it was social media, mobile, internet, and cloud, and big data. But they were not emerging at the same time. They were coming one step at a time, and then with the colliding at one. So when you really think about it, how big it really is, just think back in 1989. If somebody would have come to you and said, you know what, there would be this thing called the internet. And all information sharing will be there. And everybody will have devices. And everybody will be connected. And you know what? They would put you in a crazy house. Right? Yes, you experience that. So this was just to tell you, that's not that many years ago. Right? Today, nobody could imagine our world without the internet. Right? That's an element where you can see how much disruption is there. Good. So we announced the digital agenda. It's called the Digital Agenda for Germany. And a half year later, European Union said, great strategy. All countries in Europe have to apply it. It's called the Digital Agenda 2020. All European countries have applied it, the digitalization. There's a really reasons why everybody has applied that. I will come to that a little bit later. Good. This is then the 4th Industrial Revolution. The 4th Industrial Revolution is, if there's anything you learn here today, learn this. There are 3 worlds colliding into one. The digital world, the physical world, and the virtual world, right? So, who has a phone? Good, you have a phone. Is your phone digital?
Yes.
Yes, why? It can connect with all devices around, right? Right?
Yeah.
Can connect with the television, it can connect with everything around it, good. Is it a virtual device?
It is a virtual.
Yes. No, it's a virtual device because you can watch on Skype, you can WhatsApp, you can look at your performance of the warehouse, right? Is it a physical device? Yes, it's very physical. You can have your compass on it, your thermostat. You can measure the wall on how big the wall is. So this symbolizes to you how things are working. So this was just your phone in the hand, right? In the warehouse, it's exactly the same thing. The warehouse, you have RFID devices that connect everything together. You have robots that go around. You have a plant manager that can view the plant off-site, how the virtual performance going, right? So you see things are changing very, very radically. It's not just a bit. So the 4th Industrial Revolution are the 3 worlds colliding. What are the 3 worlds again? Yes, good. I will ask you a couple of times because if you can repeat this is like the first element that comes around it. So, and then there's 17 trends. Now, these are just the technology trends I'm mentioning. So I will go through a little bit the hyper thing, but just imagine the trends. The trends, some of these trends are when you hit underwater, it creates a wave and it changes everything. So each of them, they come in a wave. And the wave is a wave of maturity. So the wave of maturity is also how you adapt it when you're entrepreneur. So the first wave helps you today. It's the digitalization, Internet of Things, and all of this. But in reality, it will, so by the way, you can download this, KFAS has it, and you can download it. So they will share it, I'm sharing it openly, just so you know. So just think about the first wave today is mature. It's not like 3D printing is not important anymore. 3D printing plays a significant role. But the maturity is high, and as it goes along, it will add more to it. So it's not finished, but the maturity is high. Good. The second wave is where we are right now. And the second wave is the wave that creates the disruption that changes every aspect of every industry, how we consume, how we live, how we interact, every aspect of our life. It's not small, it's very, very big. So I know you all know what artificial intelligence is, so let me just explain it to you. Artificial intelligence is the automation of intelligence. And it's been around for a very long time, over 25 years. It's not something new that it just popped up. So when you looked at the first time you were in school, who of you went to a math class? Hopefully all of you, right? Good. You had a calculator. Good. The calculator is the first element of artificial intelligence. You can do every time formula, it always comes up with the same thing. It's very basic, right? Today, artificial intelligence is far more advanced, right? Today you have semantics intelligence, you have face recognition, you have machine learning, you have 3 different types of schools of machine learning and all of these. It's a big, big thing. Big, big, big thing. There's nothing to be afraid of in artificial intelligence. Absolutely nothing. All the naysayers that we'll be controlled by artificial intelligence, no, we will not. Why? What is it that makes us human? We have emotions, we have feelings, we have drives. A computer can read emotions, it cannot give emotions back. Yes. Emotions are chaotic and complex, right? Emotions are driven by hormones, environments, interactions. This is what makes us human beings, this is what makes us feel, this is what makes us alive. This is what makes us feel alive. So artificial intelligence will ease our work. I predicted at the World Economic Forum that, you know what, I believe in 2030 we will work 4 hours less than we work now. Will that mean we'll get less salary? No. Right? Do you know the revolution that went, the fear that people had when a combustion engine came, the car? People were afraid that a car would take away their livelihood, right? The livelihood as farmers and all of this. Did it take any livelihood away? No. It just moved the efficiency from here to here, right? It just moved the bar. So there's absolutely nothing to fear in it. And here's my heartfelt element for this region, and Yassem knows this very much. I'm very passionate about artificial intelligence. And I've already told you that the GCC, you hold the code for this. But you've been a sleeping giant for a very, very long time. You have been evolving the last couple of 25 years like nobody has evolved. A big compliment to yourself. So you have, and that is based on the elements that you had on oil. But now you have found something that's even more worth than oil, but nobody knows that it's oil you have. So in the GCC region, many years ago on the Arabian Peninsula, you were the great mathematicians, and you developed something called the oction. You know what the oction is? Good. This is a job I give to all of you. Go home, look at the oction, and look on where it comes from. It comes from your region. This is in the Middle Ages. It's a number games between, you have all the numbers, and wherever you push, the number comes out here. This is like, in the Middle Ages, they were totally fascinated because it was a numbers game, you know? They could, but you know what this actually is? This is a code. It's a code. You know why I know this? Besides this, I have an artificial intelligence company that does artificial intelligence trading. We have been coding for over 8 years. with German coders. They're hardcore coders. No, so in artificial intelligence, there are 3 different disciplines. So I wanted to, I will use a little bit of time on this, but this is because we are in the settings here. You've seen that a couple of times, Abdul. So, we have the binary world that's based on ones and zeros, zeros and ones, right? That's how we program. We have the quantum world, or quantum logic. I'll just go through that in a second, right? Everything that is simple, just imagine I hit my hand under water, you can see a wave emerging, you can program the pattern, and every time that pattern emerges, you can react to it, right? This is based on pattern recognitions, on programming. This is how everything we do in our world, SAP, Oracle, everything in our world is based on simple pattern recognition and reacting to it. In a complex world, just imagine you hit on 3 waves at the same times. You can recognize the waves in the beginning, but the more they merge together, the more complex they become. This is where it becomes complex, right? This is where you have multi-level of pattern recognition. This is where you use classification and categorization. You know the difference?
Yeah.
Good. Want to explain it?
Classifications, when you want to classify whether a dog between the cat.
Yes.
Categorization, when you want to put a bunch of dogs and bunch of cats in the separate part. That is
Very good, very good. So when you have a lot of drinks, warm drinks, cold drinks, ice cream and so on, so you set aside, everything of this is water-based, so you classify. Then you categorize where you say, this is hot, this is cold, this is sweet, this is sour, right? And this is how you recognize pattern. This is the world we live in today, right? But this is also, here IBM, Amazon, of the American School of Artificial Intelligence is very much based on machine learning. Now be aware. Why are they focusing on machine learning? They say the machine has to learn all the data to produce something, to recognize a pattern. Good. They're basing it on this principle, but they have a different business model. They're selling data management, right? They want to sell you data. Google and Amazon and all of them, they sell data farms. Good, then you have the Chinese. The Chinese are focusing on programming. They're focusing on machine learning based on programming, so real-time programming. Very different. So the US is focusing on reactive, they're focusing on proactive. So when we went through these steps, we went to the next here. This is quantum logic, and I will just go through this very short, but I want to highlight this a little bit more than I normally do, because this is the region, this is your heritage. And we need somebody that takes ownership for this and build this. So if this is a fiber cable and you have 100 million fibers on it, and I send 10 megabytes through here, in the simple and in the complex, in the binary world, the 10 megabyte will come exactly out the same fiber, because data cannot jump. But we know that's not true. That's why our GPS system works. That's why our internet works. So we know it's not true. When we look to the universe, everything is quantum logic. When we look into the nano world, everything is quantum logic. We have built, the last 2,000 years, the world around us that we see, that it fits us. And so the quantum wall, we have already broken through this. We know how we see the world today is not true. We know we live in a quantum world, but we have designed the view to fit our world. Do you recognize Newton's first law? how it has evolved. Niels Bohr, Einstein, big discussion, click, suddenly they found out 2 years ago, you know what? What the heck? They're both right. This is a big revolution. This means our reality of how things are means that the 10 megabyte I send through here can appear on any of the 10 million fibers. That means you need to have 4 machines that simulate a quantum reality and work on it in real time. We have done it. And that's why I'm telling you, the code is here. We have reused the code. We have contacted the universities, and nobody knows this. I'm telling you, you are sitting on oil and you don't know it. The code for this is Octeon. It's your heritage. I'm just telling you. So this is actually something that you have to wake a little bit up to. You have to develop a discipline around how you develop it and how you work with it. Because if you really do this, you will be the kick-ass guys. Really kick-ass guys. Somebody's interested in this, I can give you a little bit more content on this. Good.
Just one question in this. Why is cybersecurity is in the third wave, not in the first and second wave?
Good. Cybersecurity depends on quantum technology, artificial intelligence, and telecommunications to evolve. Why? Because cybersecurity, how you know today, will not be the same. So your phone today, you are sharing all your information. You're selling yourself. You're actually prostituting yourself to get everything for free. Good. This will not be the same. This will be that you will be the holder based on smart contracts, based on artificial intelligence, and based on quantum logic. You will be the holder of your information and the control of your information. You can do that. Already today, I already know several companies that work on it. What does that mean? It changes the entire pyramid on cybersecurity. I mean, if anybody is really good at cybersecurity, there's a couple of countries that are really good at it. And it's based on the same theory. They have done it for the last 10 years. Now this will change. That means just think every telephone here will shift around a code consistently because your phone is built on 64 bits. It's actually only working on 32 bits. So the telephone could shift the code around all the time. Your information could be protected, and you can be the holder of that information. Do you know what that changes? That's as a big revolution as the internet. When you suddenly take the information away from Google, which business model does Google have? Nothing. Which business model does Facebook have? Nothing. That's a big step. It's not a small step. Yes. So that means that the cybersecurity we know will not be the same. So the next one is blockchain. Can you explain blockchain very short?
It's a decentralized networking that is enabling peer-to-peer communication where no single authority can change any data without the consent of the group of people.
Yes.
Or the nodes in the network. That's an example.
How many of you have cryptocurrency? You have to use the microphone.
That's fine. My voice is
your voice is okay, but the people they can.
okay.
Good. Okay.
Excuse me, do you mean 5G or 6G intentionally?
I mean 6G intentionally. Oh, he just said you have to use the microphone. Okay, just kidding. And the reasons why, because 5G is old wine on new bottles. They're cheating us. They're telling us we get 5G. 5G should be 1 terabyte upload and 1 terabyte download. Good. Yes. What are you getting?
Nothing.
Yeah, if you're lucky, maybe 50 megabyte, and then they tether it, and when you're many people, you maybe just...
The standard isn't finished yet. It comes out in 2020. We don't know what it's going to be.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's by IEEE, research. The 5G is not yet complete.
Yes.
And they are saying in the market that they have it, and this is how the speed is, and this is all marketing.
Yes.
commercialized in a wrong way.
I will come back to communications and to digitalization and energy, why they are listed here, why they're so important for us. I will come back to that because it's really, really important.
You were saying something about cryptocurrency.
He doesn't want to.
Yes, he was just explaining it.
No, you were saying, is anybody investing in that?
Yes. And there were just a few hands, so really don't have to cover that much.
Maybe he's interested. But
Do you have your own blockchain?
No, I just started learning about that.
Okay, good. So, the third wave will change all industries. It will emerge new industries, how they work. So many of these elements, are you say like neurotechnology, nanotechnology, bioinformatics will change radically. Not just a bit, radically. So we have to be very careful about this. So, it's changing everything. But with that comes, you can change easily. So this is an opportunity for you to create new businesses. I know a lot of guys here who have a lot of ambitions to create opportunities, right? It creates new business areas you can reach. So when you're kawaii and you're hardcore kawaii, you are actually a badass trader. You should be. You have it in your DNA. So this is actually an opportunity for you to see how you can do that. Because this is about how you can create a business, how you can be early adapters, and how you can create something, right? It doesn't mean copying. Copying an app is not being innovative.
This is a little bit like a couple of slides before, but does the exponential growth of the graph you showed over there mean that the fifth industrial revolution could occur earlier than usual?
Ah, very good question. I will just answer it now. Good question. What are you studying?
Sustainability and industrial engineering.
Good. Very good. This is also the topic I will cover now on sustainability. Because we have a problem. Not just a small one. We have a big problem. So,
Excuse me, can you repeat?
Can you repeat the question? Yes.
can you take your microphone up?
Test.
Can you introduce yourself with your name?
Mohammed Hussein from Nike. And my question was, does the exponential growth shown in this graph mean that the fifth industrial revolution could occur anytime sooner than usual?
So, the fifth industrial revolution, if anybody talks about the fifth industrial revolution, don't take him serious. So, an industrial revolution takes a minimum, this industrial revolution takes a minimum 30 to 60 years. Depending on how fast the exponential curve goes. But if anybody talks about a fifth industrial revolution, I'm sorry, just hit them because they don't know anything about the fourth industrial revolution. And just hit them from me, you're welcome. So in reality, let me just go back so you understand what a revolution is. Because some people say, fifth industrial revolution, and they list some trends. Trends are not an industrial revolution. Important. Then they list machine learning and all this crap. That's a subset of artificial intelligence. I mean, like, there's a hierarchy of trends. There's mega trends, macro trends, and micro trends. And there's a certain aspects on how they collide together. So when you look at this, the first industrial revolution, let me just look if I have this slide here. No, I don't have this slide. Okay, I'll just explain you. Good. The first industrial revolution started off in terms of, it was in UK in end of 1700, based on water stream. So it's water and coal was the big thing with that. Water and coal drove the next element, and that is that it revolutionized the transportation industries. Boats, trains, and it really brought up big economies like Germany, UK. UK was like the mother. They suddenly could produce wool, cotton, with machines. They had it cheap from India. They had it cheap from other regions. So they started really produce that very fast. So, and that created a real economy around it. That's all the heydays also coming to the US. The second industrial revolution, that's why the first one is called the mechanic. The second one is called the electronic, because the backbone of this was that electricity was discovered and how you manage electricity. Electricity in the beginning was not based on fossil or coal or anything else. It was only based on water. So the second element, it was based on water. In the second industrial revolution, something unique happened. And the unique thing happened is that in the meat production line and Henry Ford, they discovered how they want to reorganize the assembly line. So that's the workforce that changed. There's also something else that changed. That is that the combustion engine came forward. And the combustion engine combined with the trend that they found oil in Texas. So the second industrial revolution was very much driven not by coal, but by fossil energy source. Do you see the pattern? Always based on water, energy, transportation, changed the way they do business. The second, water, fossil, transportation, very big, economy, and then came the last wave in the second industrial revolution, which is telecommunications. I know it doesn't mean a lot for you, but at this time, telecommunication was like as big as the internet. Just think about that you can talk with somebody just via a line. This is like magic. This was for them magic. Really, really big magic. And so they were like living in a heyday. They thought everything was going on. So that was the second revolution. The digital revolution is the silent one. Why is it the silent one? Because there was major changes that came, huge ones, but then they collided in one like poof. And in 2008 and 9, we're like, holy smokes. The bomb just hit us. Now they were preparing each of these elements. And so this is very, very interesting, but something happened in 2009 that the fossil crisis came in. So the fossil is linked with gold. Gold is also linked with the US dollar. So the oil price is linked with these three elements. It hit the high, it broke down, the trust in it broke down. So what is the Industry 4.0? What are the three worlds colliding together? The good-looking guy? The good-looking guy. I'm just kidding. So go ahead.
Physical, digital, and virtual.
Okay, good. I meant you. He just took the word. Good. So, good. So, in reality, the fourth industrial revolution brings certain paradigms to it. The first is an exponential growth, Moore's law. You already know that. But the element in that is colliding is that we have entered the sixth mass extinction period. Have you ever heard about that? Good. The next 5 years, 25% of the species we have on the planet will die. Last year, 60% of bees died. Good. Do you see the problem? I'm not sure they counted bees, but I think they counted the species of bees. But which problem do we have if we don't have bees? No food. No pollination, right? You know what China is doing with pollination? They bring bees out to pollinate. And if they don't do that, they pollinate manually to get more fruit out of it. You know? Actually, you don't have to pollinate manually because bees are just summing around automatically. It just happens automatically. But when you don't have enough bees, then you have to do it manually, right? We have a problem. We have a big, big problem. Good. Another element is we have a next era of economic era we have going on. So, how many of you had Netflix? You too? Good. Which economy is Netflix? Is that a shared economy? Yes. You have one account you share with 4 people. Shared economy. Good. Is Uber a shared economy? Yes. Good. So all the business models that are merging are shared economy. Let me give you another example. I have 2 cars. I have 3 homes. Do I need that? No. No. See, most of you that sit here in my age, we are raised with ambitions. I wanted to become something. By my first 25, I wanted to have 1 million. For me, I drive the biggest car around in the market because it's a status symbol for me, right? Why is it like that? Because that's how I'm raised. Ownership, that's how I'm raised. Is that changing? Yes. My sons are not interested in that. Right? Our economy is becoming a shared economy and a purpose-driven economy, right? Not an ownership-driven economy. We are dividing up the world, so the underlying element that drives it, when you really think about it, is capitalism working? Yes. For who is it working? For the 60 people that own 90% of the wealth. It's working for them. Is it working for the rest? Not really. Good. Okay. Is democracy in Europe breaking down? Yes. Democracy is breaking down in Europe. How come democracy is breaking down? Well, democracy depends on you have 1 generation, 2nd generation, 3rd generation. I pay pension in for the guys that are on pension now, right? My sons pay pension in for me. The problem is there are lesser people and they don't pay pension. Why? They don't believe that anybody will ever pay in for them. See the problem? Even though you say it's a good system, the system is breaking. So the underlying thing between the new economy saying any country you go to, most people don't trust the government. They don't trust the bank. Oh, you see a problem? The economic pillars and the stable pillars we have around are breaking down. And the word breakdown, people have an ecology that we work with. Now that's not a bad thing. Why? When our world is breaking down on mass extinction, the only generation that has the ability to save our planet is us. There's this clean path how we can save it. We can only work as a community together. We cannot expect the government to save the planet. Not at all. We can expect us human beings to save the planet. And there's a path on how we can do that. I can explain that a little bit later. So let me come to the next big wave that is coming. Our consumption paradox has already exceeded. That means we are consuming more than what we can produce. We need to rethink how we produce agriculture, how we use our water. It's not a small thing. If you look on how much meat production is on a cow, it's not worthwhile the energy that we put in, the water it consumes. It will not be the same equation we have in 10 years. Not at all. We need to change. So, and the last one is new reality. I went a little bit through quantum technology. So you see that the world we live in is different. That means it brings a lot of changes to it. Okay. You see on purpose, I've not driven on the 4th Industrial Revolution. Energy source, water. Why? Because our water equation is unequal in the world. Greenland is melting. The water cycle we have is breaking, so we have to re-establish it. Why? Every industrial revolution is first built on water, then on energy. We need to find a new energy source. So, will that energy source come from batteries? No.
Back to water. Hydrogen.
Hydrogen. So, Germany, Nordic, they are fully independent from heat from the earth windmills or water hydraulics. The problem is, now we have a wave on batteries. Batteries are not a good energy source. You're creating energy to store it. Batteries have a life cycle of 5 years. Let's say they extend it to 10 years. Who will recycle the batteries? Yes. That means we're actually creating a bigger mess for us. So we need engineers that redesigns a new energy source. And we need people in Kuwait that says, okay, what is it that we're really good at? We're good at social media. We know that kind of connection. We're good at caring for people. So we need to find a way to make the caring real. What is it we need to do in sustainability? What is it we need to do change in our consumption? What is it so everybody can take responsibility where they are with something, right? See, my wife, she takes responsibility and I don't like it. Now I have to do all this garbage sorting, you know, I have like 4 garbages I have to sort and it's like, but I survive. I've survived many things in our marriage, so this I will also survive, right? Good. This is for you, how you apply it. Good. This is a simple way. How many of you know the value chain? Good. What is a value chain?
Value chain?
Yes.
It's from raw materials to product to marketing it to selling it.
Very good. Good. A value chain is very simple. Let me see if that works. It's very good. So it's where you go from the customer, your core value proposition you have, how you service them, the channel that you use, and the customer's relationship that you have. Here you have, in order to produce a certain product, you need to have key operations, key resources, and key partners. This is key because this over here is non-key. This is supporting. That means your IT and all of this is non-core. So this is what companies normally develop. This is the only way where you can manage how is your current operations and how is your future operations. This is how you design how you want to service the customers and how do you outcompete them and so on. So this is the key tool for you to learn because there's new principles coming up. So I need a volunteer to come up. Just one guy or girl. Just a volunteer. Come on. So the key element I wanted to explain to you here. Do you see forces is the red line up there? See, if he stands here and I hit him now. No, okay, I don't hit you. No, okay. See, if he stands here and I push him, he gets out of balance, right? The more I push him, the more he has to go back to his own element. So a force that pushes him, he has to react on. So everything on a force is environment, regulation, workforce, and technology. So when you have a business, any business you have, a force pushes you out of your normal state to react to something. Then you have drivers, economic drivers, consumer drivers, competitiveness, and global drivers. So if you want to come to me, he has to do something. He has to be proactively to come out. He needs to be driven to come there. So this is a very important element because it's often misunderstood. This part will drive you to the opportunities. So most executives and most businesses, they are focusing on the forces because they are reactive, because they have to react, adapt to changes. So the adoption to changes, when you have a business or wherever you work, you have these 2 elements that you work on. One, you have to adapt to what is changing your current operations, and you have to design your new business where you can capture the opportunity, where you can grow, where you can compete, outcompete, right? You understand? Yeah. Good, thank you very much. That means this is how all of you will design a normal business. So the principles that you have today is actually on how you model and design a business. So everybody of you who were an entrepreneur, can you just raise your hand again? Good. This is an easy model to use. A very, very easy model to use. Today we were at the bank. I showed them the business model of other banks, the value streams. We were at oil and gas. We could show them that. It's easy. Normal big organizations understand this. They also understand the changes that are coming. They need to react to far, far faster. So this is a discipline that everybody of you needs to learn.
I think it's near to the business model canvas, right?
Yes.
It is the same topic.
No, actually not. Actually not. So see, the business model canvas has no notations. So the notations you see down here, they are decision cycles. The business canvas does not have the forces and drivers. It has nothing to it. So you just design a business, but this is designed that you design your current business and your future business into one. Why is that important? If you just do a business model innovation canvas, nobody can use that because it's a value chain. The value chain you break down at the next level at the business model. And the business model you break down at an operating model. Do you know what I mean? If not, I will just explain it. Good. This is a very important question, because if not, you are mind masturbating and you will never get to your goal. So you have the first element where you look at the forces and drivers. This is your value chain. The value chain is the highest level of your operations, your competencies, a group. You see that here. Your services, your customers, you see they are the highest level of a group. This you will see in the business model. And the business model looks like this. So a business model is always built on competencies. Competencies are capabilities and skills. So, because why is that? A company can only compete based on competencies. You compete with your skills you have. So, this is where you have your groups, areas, and functions. Here, you have strategic, tactical, operational. This is a business model. Here you take service designs, your current and your future business, how you service them, how you do your revenue, how you do your cost. You can do your headcounts distribution. Here, you're doing your service flow, your bottlenecks, you do your workflows. You do also your service flow. You also do your programs, projects. So here you map everything and your headcounts. So you take the same decisions as here, you just have more. Then you have the next level, which is the same, just one level lower down, which is your operating model. Your operating model is one step lower. You see systems, you see programs, you see processes. You don't see processes up here. So suddenly you see more and more and more. And here you can take design decisions on your operations, not on how you design your business. Here you can take design decisions on how you run and develop your business. And here you can only take the high-level design business, how you service your customer and how you change it. So these are very, very disciplinary management principles that are coming in. When you think about this, from 1953 to today, 33% of the Fortune 500 companies are not there anymore among the Fortune 500. That's a lot, isn't it? Good. In 10 years, 50% of the Fortune 500 companies that are there today in the Fortune 500 will not be there anymore. Are you crazy? They have all the money. They have the whole entire market. Why the heck am I saying they will not be there?
Maybe they will not own the same data that they have right now.
Maybe will not be
Because it is the core of their business.
Yes. So when I was pushing you, you could stand, right? When there's too much push on you and you're not reacting, you will fall, right? This is the same thing. If you don't go back to the basics, why is it that Nokia, that had the market in telephones, was not leading? Yes. Yes. They were unable to adapt to changes. So the only element you have, your ability to adapt as human beings, is if you have a business, this is your ability to adapt. Are you with me? So this is like, if you don't model and learn the new principles, you cannot apply it. It's that simple. So this is not a new discipline. This is a discipline that we need to learn today. If you want to apply blockchain in any of this, you need to service first instead of say, I want to apply technology. No, no, no. Which service is it delivering? How is it serving my operating model? Which better performance will it give me? Which cost element will it drive to me? You have to answer service certain levels, because anything you implement has to be purpose-driven. It's not just, we need blockchain, we want blockchain. Yes, for what? Do you want to use it on toilet? For what? This is, yes. This is good. This is funny. This is good for you. Good. How many of you know how many business models are there today? Abdullah?
6 business models.
Good.
Cost model.
Yeah.
Value model.
Yeah.
Service model.
Yeah.
Operating model.
Yeah.
Performance model.
Are you good?
And definitely revenue model.
Yes. What's the problem? None of us learned that in school. I've been at Oxford. I've been at Harvard. I've been at INSEAD. I've been also writing general management programs for them. It's not a problem. How come we don't learn them anymore? Because education and real world are two different things. Right? It's evolving very, very fast. Good. This is, so what you see here, the red line is the trend curve. Then you see the performance curve, which is the black one, and the gray one is the adoption curve, right? Here's the interesting thing. And this is something, what was it? See, this part from here to here is 80% of your company. It's non-core. This area is cost for best practices. When this is your core business, you only compete on price. Then you have a problem.
Is that between the red trajectory and the dark gray trajectory?
From this area,
Yeah.
here you are in hyper competition.
Yeah.
That means you cannot expect a higher growth than 5% because you compete on price. Head on head. It's not a good situation to be in. This is the area where there's best practices. So when you have the big consultant companies come to you and tell you the latest thing on blockchain or robotic process optimization, this is so cool, you need to have it immediately and it will give you competitive advantage. Now, you can get everybody in your project group together and do a group meeting, right? Because in reality, if the adoption curve is high, the performance curve is even higher, right? So you can get it from many consultant companies. So it will not give you a competitive advantage. It cannot. Impossible. So in this area, you have only your operating model and your cost model. So if you're competing on price, they are the only two elements you can draw on. So this part is 15% of your organization. Here. That's where your comparative advantage, right? Comparative means you are competing with somebody else and you need to be minimum as good as he is. Very important. That means you compete on price because you have a competitor, so you need to have a high level of performance and a high level of service. Very important. The next level gives you competitive differentiation or competitive advantage. But that's very, very little. That's only 5% of your organization. So when you're at the big organizations, they often don't know what makes them code different. This is where they invest a lot. Nobody really knows. They test and they make trials and errors, and they accept mistakes because they want to learn from their mistakes. This is how you actually use it. So this is an element on these 6 business models, how they interact together. And these 6 business models is like an ecosystem. There are 6 children, they work in an ecosystem together. Good. I'll just give you here a little model that you can work with. Nora, how much time do I have? 10 minutes, 20 minutes? 20 minutes. Good. By the way, give her please her hand, because she's the one who organized it. Good. This is a model that I developed with Apple, with Steve Jobs. I had a difficult time to come through with him, because he brought me in after McKinsey and Deloitte, all the big consulting companies, and he was really frustrated because he needed to, Henrik, just give me the solution. Pay you so much money, just tell me.
What was the problem?
They wanted to grow. They wanted to build a growth strategy on how Apple could capture the market.
Which year?
Oh, that was way in 2007. That was a long time ago. I had far more hair. Yeah, that was for. That's the strategy that they have been surviving with so many years. But see here, when you're part of it, Steve Jobs was an impatient person. Come with a solution. Not very patient person. So I needed to develop a model that I can work with him on, and I've used that quite often. It's the can't, want, should model. So the can is based on everything that you have in your organization. All your capabilities, your resources, your operations, all the setup you have. Your buildings, your resources, your software, your existing clients. And the want is normally what you want. It's your preferences and it's ideas and all of this that comes to it, right? Good. Who would agree with me that executives are like small children? Yes. Very small attention rate, and they want whatever they desire.
Otherwise they cry.
Yeah, otherwise they cry. They want to have, if they were children, they wanted to have pizza every night. Good. So they often go from the want, from the can to the want. And this is what's called the danger zone. Because who says what you want is right? Right? It's not easy to tell a child that pizza is not good every night. Good. It will come with many arguments why it's healthy. Tomato is a fruit. A vegetable, you know. Good. Normally, you ask them to come down to the should, which is based on the external drivers and external drivers. So that means, what is the complementers doing, competitors doing, what do the consumers demand, what are the cultures in the market, what are the workforces, what is increasing in the workforce, what are the regulations, what are the drivers? Forces and drivers. What is it you should react to? And then they go up here. Let's just use a practical example, okay? How many of you know how to do operational excellence? Yassem? If you want to get operational excellence, and you have these 6 business models, which ones would you use? An operating model, performance model, cost model, service model, revenue model? Which one would you look at first?
Well, it depends, but I would combine some of them together to make it the value that I'm trying to achieve.
Very smart. So what he's actually saying is saying, if you look at what you can do, let's first look at your operating model. Because the operating model is how you're actually working today, operating. When you're an executive, you would immediately jump over to cost model, because operational excellence is cost cutting. Good, but that's a danger zone, right? So what you normally would go, you would first go down and look at your revenue model?
Performance model.
Performance model, yes. Very good, very good. Because why? The link between your performance model, because when you go down to the should, you say, if I need to create a better operations, how should I perform towards to be more competitive, to serve the market better, to meet consumers' demand? You know, so how do you need to perform your current operations? The link between your operating model and your performance model is always transformation. So the word transformation means that it has to exist in order for you to transform. Very important. You just learned an important lesson. You know now what transformation is. Because transformation and innovation is a word people use around. They throw around just like yes. And you're like, okay, what does it mean? Good. You can only transform something that already exists. Actually, what they create here is effectiveness. The link between, so here you would use elements like Lean, Six Sigma, Agile, so you perform something that exists. Good. Here you would innovate. Innovation means you have to invest to add a new competence to an existing competence, to add more to it. Why do you need to invest in this? When you recognize here on the internal and external elements, you suddenly realize, I'm really good at this, but I need to add this to it. I need to add a new competence I do not have. That new competence will often give you efficiency. Here's a secret I'm telling you. You can never get efficiency without investing in it. You can get effectiveness out of it because something you do, you can do more effective. Efficiency, you have to invest because you have to change elements to it. Very, very important. So this, then you would get operational excellence, right? See, this model you can use for anything. You can use to grow, you can use whatever. So this is a simple model. I just want to give you along. Make sure to write it down so you can use it with your team to align, okay? Good.
But it has to be effective if it is efficient, right?
Yes. You're right. You're right. Good. Most of these principles you can learn on a boot camp and a master class. Why? If you want to apply principles, there's new management principles you need to learn. How do you learn them? You learn them only by applying them yourself. If not, you don't know how to really get there. So Abdullah, the nice looking guy there, he's doing the boot camps. He's the nice guy. He's the guy that everybody likes. Good. Any questions?
You have more information on the things you just shared. Can you want to show?
So all of this, the competitiveness, the strategy, and all of this, this is my final book. I give this out free to the world. Why? In order to mature our ability in this world, I want to leverage the capacity of people. Do you see what I'm doing in the boot camps and the masterclass? Do you see what I'm doing here? I'm sharing this all for free. Why am I doing that? Because I believe the biggest gift I can give is to enable people. You have a dream, you have a dream, and you have a dream. But dreams cannot be fulfilled, and ability must be transformed into a capability. And a capability must be transformed into a skill. The reasons why I told you in the beginning I was a horse butcherer, I'm a doctor, and I'm a something else. I can transform my skills from one area to another area, right? You can change. But the principles, you have to learn how to apply it. You have to learn how to butcher a horse. You have to learn the autonomy of a body. You have to learn how to drive the management skills. If you don't learn it, you cannot use it, right? I'm sorry. Have you ever seen a horse and butcher a horse? You wouldn't even know how to cut. If you cut the muscles wrong, it's unable for you to cut, right? Some of these principles, you just have to learn the skills, right? So I want to end off with the same note I started with in the beginning. I told you the story about my teacher, and I tell it once in a while because it's a deep, deep touching story for me. Somebody invested time in me. Now this is your time. This is also your time in Kuwait. You have seen that the fourth industrial revolution changes every aspect to us. We are in a big crisis with sustainability and so on. We can lean back or we can stand up. That means the group that is here can easily connect together and say, guys, how the heck are we lifting the table? We have a guy who loves blockchain. We have a guy, he's an entrepreneur on steroids. You have people, Kuwait is a good world where you connect with each other. But it's also a world where you can use the influence that you have to say, good, how is it we can produce food smarter, better? How is it that we can create a better healthcare for ourselves? How is it that we can create a work environment that fits how we want to work? How is it we can create a work environment for the biggest amount of youth we have here?
It's a fantastic view of what you are doing and how you are describing the technology, industries, different versions of the industries. But I think there is still, I don't see the element, the requirement of or foundation of those. What is the right infrastructure to implement those? And what is the key element of any industry? I think the common thing is the data. The data is the core element to make all of these industries successfully implemented. And you keep mentioning Kuwait and how we are lucky to, in this time, maybe we can adopt. The major requirement is data and having the right infrastructure to use these technologies. I didn't see your view on the requirement of digital transformation and how it is important and what is the element. I was expecting that maybe.
Good. Let me cover that now. We don't want to disappoint you. That will leave you the next half hour here. This is a model. So at the World Economic Forum, I'm going through the G7, which is often 12 people that come from different regions that are coming. I'm going through different models on productivity and growth and all of these. And the last World Economic Forum, I shook them up a little bit. And you know what? The world is a strange world today. They have become very self-centered. Angela Merkel's vision of the global architecture is fading. Everybody wants to focus on themselves. A tariff war has had them up and everything going on. So in reality, how it looks a little bit, you have natural resources. You have the business world. You have our economy. And we have people. The link between our natural resources and our business. Every country and every nation builds on natural resources. But we're forgetting some of the most basics. It's not all that is important. Water, food, infrastructure, they're the most important element. To infrastructure belongs communications. Good. this equation, they always focus on growth. Our society is built on we grow on natural resources, energy and water. Good. The link between our business world, this is growth, economy and business. The link between our business world and our natural resources is our policies. We need to regulate how our resources are used. The link between people and economy is productivity. Now governments only focus on productivity and growth. The link between people and natural resources is our ethics. The harmony between all of them is sustainability. Now when I answer your question, my big message to them was saying the way that we can save our planet today, only when we all work together. The pathway for that is digitalization. We need to have a workforce for the next 12 years that digitalizes our agriculture, our cars. All elements we have in our society needs to have an RFID device with it. Why? So that communications and artificial intelligence can work with each other autonomously. Why is that important? If we have data, we have power. Then we can interact and we can control on it. That's the first step, digitalization. The next step is saying all the technology steps, we already have it for it. But in order to do this, the next step from digitalization is telecommunications. That means it doesn't matter how much data we have if we have no line to put it through. If we all together here and we're all at the concert and want to take a video, we should just go around, nobody else can upload. Our telecommunications has to come at the far, far brighter world. Good. That's the second thing. And the third thing is our shared economy, how we as human beings interact. The revolution will come from us, not from the government. We have to design the new solutions on how meat is produced, how fruit is produced. So in Berlin, they're moving aquaponics, so systems, old warehouses, they move them into the city. So fruit is being produced in the city. Not just fruit, but hanging fruit, right? So in 2 years, Germany will be totally energy independent from atomic elements. That's quite aggressive. Angela Merkel wants to have, in 4 years, diesel cars she already bans in 2 years. And she wants to have all car off fuel, fossil fuel. Quite aggressive plan. Will she get there? I'm telling you, if the Germans march in one line, they march. Will they get there? Yes. Is she fighting the biggest challenge? She's fighting the best German invention, the combustion engine. So, energy is the first element. We need to re-establish our water limit. I believe we need to focus on certain elements on how we create agriculture, our food production, how we consume, how we share in our economy, and how we produce in our economy. Now, many of the walls we have today need to fall because it's the people that will take over more and more. And this is not like, it's a revolution like a French Revolution. No, it's not. It's a revolution to save our existence. That's what it is. So this is why data is important. This is why blockchain is important, because blockchain will secure the data, right? So many of these aspects are quite important. Good. I wanted to highlight, before I come to my conclusion, I wanted to highlight something that Yassem also wanted. Anybody of you know the difference between service and processes? Good. You want to have that explanation?
What I think is, process is to start with something, starting from the, for example, from the raw material to the production. So in between there are steps, and each step is probably called as a process, kind of.
Yeah.
And service is a different thing, as I understand. It's a product and service. So it could be either it is tangible or intangible. It's a product or service. I don't see a difference between. I don't see a link between service and the process.
A process is what you do. A service is what you deliver. Good. Smart automation is as big a revolution as artificial intelligence or blockchain. But the challenge is, only the ones that understand it will see the opportunities within it. Good. Just catch this. Good. Just pass this one to you, Yasem. Yasem sits over there. Just pass it to the next one behind you and pass it up there. Good. Good. Do you see what's happening? It's a good attempt, but it's not a process. Yes. I deliver a service. I could just have given to him. I gave it to her. She gave it to him. She gave it to him. I delivered my steps, activities, events, and triggers. What I did was a process. What she did was a process. What happened between here and there, between all of us, was a workflow. Here's the secret. We are obsessed with processes. We are obsessed with my activity and with her activity and his activity. But where's the revenue flow and service flow and where are the cost cuttings? It's in the workflow. But nobody's responsible for the workflow. We have a problem, right? Where is it that we can do it very easy to get the water from here to there? It's in the workflow. I could have thrown it to her. I could just change my process. Instead of going up here, steps and activities, she could have just have thrown it all the way there. Or she could have given back to me and I could have thrown up to him. We could have done many things. The secret for smart automation, when we have all the data, when we have all the is actually artificial intelligence and blockchain, the secret resides in the workflow. Because if we continue to do this and this and this,
process optimization and improvement.
yes, yes, there's a huge saving opportunity that we have in there. Good. You can have questions in 2 minutes. One second. Just need to close off. Because if not, Noah will take me and squeeze me. Yes. But, by the way, you have to have a good hand because she does an amazing job. So I also wanted to highlight to you, because we see with a 6 period of extension, now you come home, you're like, wife, we have to die now, and just lay in bed and you don't want to stand up anymore and everything. No, this is a humongous opportunity. So the reality is, we live in the best time of human mankind ever. We can eat whatever we want. We're educated. Kuwait has never been at such a high level of prosperity before as you are now. We live in the best time ever, right? Our children are educated. We have the longest period of where we have no war. There has never been as much equality between men and women as today. You know, we can count all these things. We have never had so much money between our hands, so much free time between our hands like today. We live in the most blessed times of all. But we also live in the ability where we have the chance to change. Now, either we can sit back and we can enjoy the best times of all, or we can save our opportunity to do so. And there's one thing we have as human beings, is our ability to adapt to changes. We are very innovative and creative people. When exponential growth comes or challenges, we can adapt to it. But we can also only do it when we work together as human beings. So it actually requires something from you. It requires something from you that you go beyond your own shadow, you go beyond your own dreams, and we work together as a team. This is like a big piano that you want to lift, and you have to lift it. I believe that the future is a brighter future. I even told my son Joshua and Gabriel that I want to have a grandchild. I want to see this as a better future. And I want to give the best that I can do to get a better future. I have not feared anything that looks bad. Because we are very engineering driven people. We can find a solution if we want to. But we can only find a solution if we work together. Right? So if you come home with a feeling, don't come home with the feeling that the world is going down and you just do harakiri. No. Go home with the idea saying, you know what, honey, let's find a way how we can do that better. Okay? Thank you very much. I have 10 minutes open for questions.
Thank you, Henrik, for this interesting lecture. And on behalf of KFAS, we are proud to invite people like you and also proud to have guests like you to have this interesting discussion about something about future. Going back to the lecture, I knew fourth revolution is approaching. There are many clear signs of the fourth revolution. And as we expect, it will not jump over a night. It will come gradually, as it happened with all previous revolutions. So this kind of discussions is just a kind of preparation for our mindset to accept and also see the opportunities for each individual and for each community to play a key role in the fourth revolution. Just I would like you to say a few statements about the role of education we are approaching that can match or develop capable and able generation out of the system, education system that can cope with the fourth revolution. We knew that most of the universities around the world still continue education as a classic way of teaching math, physics, chemistry, and all other subjects. But I believe with the preparation of humankind for the next era, I think we need some kind of different way of education that can enable the future generations to cope with the new change in the life. Or otherwise, we keep it up to them after graduation to learn from the market the long way, how to adopt with the...
So let me ask you a question back to you before I answer. How much of your education that you have learned do you use today?
Very few.
Very few, yes.
And I do not rely too much on the education that I got from classrooms, but it adds to my capability to judge and adopt myself with the need of my work.
Yes. I believe that we have to change education radically. We're in a deadlock situation, and reasons why we're in a deadlock situation that all countries are trying to compare each other with how you can convert one education to another one. That's a total nightmare. Why? Men learn different, women learn different. Men are testosterone driven. We are learning different. Women are estrogen driven, they learn different. We need to learn earlier, like they do in Finland, in games. You know, and we need to learn the basics, but as soon as possible, then we need to go into cross competencies. You know, I did not learn in school how to be a human being. I did not learn the basics on financing. I did not learn elements on how to be a human being. The better we are as a human being, the better we'll be to apply skills. What I learned in my school and what you learned in your schools is how to learn, right? This how to learn, you don't have to use 15 years for. You can actually use that in 1 year. But the skills we need today are very, very different. So I think our education system needs to be very, very different driven. Now, I don't think education is something that ever ends, right? So I'm 50 years old this year. I want to learn more. See, I looked at people when they were 50 and I thought, holy smokes, they know a lot. I'm 50 years old now. I'm like, I haven't even started learning. You know, every time I learn something, I open a new door. And I'm awestruck about all these things I can learn. And I'm getting more and more hungry, right? And the more knowledge we have, it's not necessarily making us better people. It's not necessarily making us more intelligent. So I think some people need to be very siloed because they, by the attributes, they are really going to it. And some people needs to go in certain other education. So we need to break in education, we need to bring the silos down. The silos are saying, now you go, you're good at this, so you go in this education and you do this. What I demonstrated in the very beginning, I went to be a horse butcherer because I wanted not to go to university. Then I could come to university. I started university, I became an engineer, and then I went to medical school. And look at where I'm today, right? So this is the same thing for you. Life is a learning process. You need to start with your own company, you need to practice something, and you need to fail. Failure is the best lessons that you can have. So one thing I wanted to add to your question about education. One thing I very rarely talk about, but we need to be very aware of it. The last pillar, the last element standing is the family. Good. What is family teaching us? Values. What is it? It doesn't matter where you go in. It's in Europe or if it's the Arabic Peninsula. What is breaking down? Values. Values are breaking down very much so. Values is what guiding us as human beings to take decisions on how we want to do things. So we don't learn in school about values, right? How we treat each other, how we want to be treated. We learn that in religion. Now the problem is, the children, they look at the religion that is being preached to them and say, yes, 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 good, but not relevant. Or they play one side here and the other side here. That means if we want to have the next generation to take better decisions, the pumping heart of value creation is a woman. And a woman creates values, a father gives directions, but a woman implements it. We need strong values because the value is the future of our society. I know this is soft skills, but where are we learning the soft skills? When the dad works 40 hours a week and the mom works 40 hours a week and the children, they watch television and they come home and nobody has time to really teach them the basic values of being a human being. Will they learn it from their friends? No. This is a soft element, but it's a challenging one that we have. Why? Because every family builds our society. Our society is built on families. How we interact with each other. A mother only teaches a child how to love, right? A father and mother only teaches a child how to forgive. You know, how to be dishonest and how to be honest again. I know these are soft principles, but these are principles that make us human beings. Doesn't matter which skin color we are or who we are.
The more we rely on machine, the less we have the values.
Exactly.
You can't teach machine values.
Exactly. So my guiding pillar throughout my life has been my wife. Everywhere, she has always been the pillar in one direction. I'm not in doubt when I come home who's the boss. She just lets me bark like the barking dog, but I know when she wants this done, I move this. Yes.
Does she work?
Yes. Yes, she works.
40 hours a week?
So she is. She started to work this year because the boys are big. They're 26 and 24, and so she really. Yeah. So, but she went through a crisis when they went out, and now she works. She's actually, she wanted to do something meaningful. She has 3 educations, by the way. So she is the executive assistant for the CEO and chairman of Partner Groups, which is the biggest private equity group in the world. They manage 180 billion under administration, so I think she has her hands full. But I mean, like, if she can manage me, she can manage them.
Yeah, the easy part.
Yes.
Thank you.
Good.
I would like to hear your thoughts about big companies. Because you spoke about data quite a lot, and with big companies these days, Google, Amazon, they go ahead and write the successful startups, the small companies, so they would hold the data for a long time.
Yes.
For example, when you said, would these companies these days exist in the future? I believe they will exist even longer, because no competition. All the data, even from smart startups, they have them, and they're not sharing them. So this is my question. What are your thoughts?
So the fight is, so Europe lost the fight on the internet. Google is controlling the internet, and the Chinese are controlling the internet. Two big search engines. But I don't think the fight will be on the search engine in a couple of years. The data will be roaming on the telecommunication infrastructure, not on the search engine. Yes, I believe that the search engine, give it 5 to 10 years, they will fall. I've been at the board for Google for 10 years, advisory board. The reason why they were desperate to pay me 10 years is they needed to renew their business model. They know they have a dying business model. They buy YouTube up, they buy everything up, you know, but they have a dying business model. They have 99% of their business is coming in without any human interaction. Right? You know what that means? You have diarrhea of money, but you have a problem. When you know this is only one business model, and you know it's changing and you cannot adapt to it. So search is going from a static search to a visual search. Good. Then they need to adapt the algorithms. They're already on this very fast. But when it goes away from the platform for search, you have a problem. When you become the owner of the search, and you become the centerpiece of the search, you have a problem. It changes. So the information holder of data in the future will be telecommunications infrastructure. So the question is, who is it that will design that, right? The same thing is with blockchain. Who and where will you earn the money on blockchain? If you look on stable coins, will you earn it based if you build an exchange platform? Now you have to exchange in your wallet towards Ethereum or Bitcoin or another coin. What if you create your own exchange platform? Then you have changed it. So there's tons of opportunities out there. But let me reverse your question. Is there a company in Kuwait that is a success story from startup to top? Huh? Is there one company here in Kuwait that has started up and is a success story?
Yeah, you got Talabat, you got watigahat, you got all these e-commerce companies that have been bought out for a few billion.
Yes. Good, very good. You know what? Because you need success stories, right? So who will be the next success stories that comes from Kuwait? Right? This is what we want to see, right? So there's huge potential out there in the market. Good. Microphone?
Yeah, it's fine. I think I'm loud enough, but
The people in the back.
Sure. The bottle juggling that you've done over here, was that journey mapping as we know it?
Journey mapping, I would call it workflow. Journey mapping.
slightly a little bit more complex than that. But then
Yes. Now, the reason why I say, you can say journey mapping, but in reality, look here. In your service flow, you have your information flow. In your information flow, you have your data flow. That's real-time measurement. Everything we measure today is input, output, activity. We measure everything output-driven. So the process, the activity that you did was output-driven measurement. It's already happened. The service flow from here to here that is meanwhile the activity happens. The workflow is also meanwhile the activity happens. So why is this important? When you can measure this, the journey flow that you call it or whatever. Yes, journey mapping.
Just captures everything, including activities, tasks and activities.
Yes. Yes. So it's just an important, whatever word you give it, you can give it whatever word.
I just wanted to relate to something I had
yes.
in my mind.
In enterprise architecture or in business world, it's called workflow, because this is how people work. But this is, you can call it whatever. Give it the name you want. You're totally right.
I think what you said about shared economy was very nice, but it's also safe to say that how people view shared economy from one region to another could be very different. So my question is there an ideal way to push a community or a society towards shared economy in some sort of a proactive approach, or does it have to be a reactive approach in some regions?
You're actually very right with this. So if you design a business, you three guys, design a business with the operating model and think about what is they want to consume and how they want to share it, and what is the cost and how they want to do it. So you will customize a shared economy model or something else that is relevant for Kuwait, how they want to do it here, right? I think your generation probably wants to consume it different, you know? Maybe you don't want to drive around in a shared car because the air condition, you want to have a really good air condition, like who knows, right? So this is what you need to customize. But the models are not like locked where you say it's only shared economy. You can develop a new model. And that's the principle with it. All the principles are there. You can shape whatever you want. This is your time.
Thank you very much for the speech. Actually, it's very insightful for me. I have a question. It's a little bit more related with the wealth or prosperity that will fourth industrial revolution generate. Once we look back to the first, second, we see that the wealth of nations, wealth of the world increased significantly compared to past. Even maybe people lives change, the share to the people maybe is not so good. 60 people is maybe having this 20% of the world overall wealth, but significantly it increased. From the cycle, it seems there will be an exponential change in the third wave. So does it mean that this will also be reflected in world wealth or in a macroeconomic way, the wealth of nations or the GDP of overall world? Will it impact? Because there will be a value added, right, processes and also efficiency. So does it mean that there will be a tremendous increase in the also world GDP or such things, or it's something different?
So world GDP is breaking down, not just a bit, radically. So the last 25 years, GDP has not increased. Our productivity level is not increasing. The formula we have had is broken. That's why we are close to getting to a crisis again. We have a problem. The models we're using before are not working anymore. That means our economic system that is normally based on the government, on the financial world, on business world and citizens is breaking. It's actually breaking. That means if we come into a crisis now, we are really, really big time. Because central banks and governments, they can put down the interest rate. Can they do that now?
Yeah.
No, they're already at zero.
It's already negative.
Yes. So can they push it? No. This one they will screw and nothing will happen. Good. Well, then they do the other trick. I mean, like they print out money like crazy. It's just like, pss, pss, pss. Will that work? Push more money into a market that is in a crisis? No. Good. What can they then do? War. What is US answers to any crisis? War. Why? They gather, they conquer, they take money, they increase their own industry on weapons. That is the only solution that is left. That is the only solution that is left. From a financial perspective, we have no other solution. So Denmark will not, we have already declared war on US, but they didn't react. So and we're angry, now we're angry. Now we will attack. Good. You said?
Yes, first of all, thank you very much for the speech. And I have, I'm interested in the subject of the fourth industrial revolution. I'm not too much into business, or I don't own a business. But what's interesting for me, what's your take about, like, for the first world countries and third world countries? The infrastructure there is different, and their productivity is different. And here in our third country, in the third countries, the productivity is less, and the infrastructure is way less. So how's that, in your opinion, is going to affect, and what ways or things you can advise, or books I can read personally? Good. That I would dig into it, because also, or...
Do you have money?
Me?
Yes.
Yeah, I do.
Okay, good. Let me tell you a simple thing. If I were the owner of KFAS, or if I was the owner of Kuwait, Kuwait have the biggest opportunity of all because they have money. They have a lot of people, but the people need a purpose to work on something. Good. The fourth industrial revolution creates the biggest opportunity of all. What is the opportunity? That means when you look at the industries, always based on manufacturing, service industries. These two elements are hardcore. This is how our world is built up. They're breaking down. Good. Should Kuwait build up a manufacturing industry? Hell no! You have no utterly chance to compete against Germany. You can just buy the German stuff. The Germans have been there for years. You can never, ever in your entire life do manufacturing better than Germany. Never, ever. Forget it. Yes, genau. This is like, but you need to focus on what can you do. Good. You are living in a desert, and the developing world has the biggest opportunity because they are able to go from one step to another step in a leapfrog with the less opportunities. I was just in Botswana. If I were in KFAS, I would jump on the plane. I can call the president of Botswana. They can establish a partnership. Why? Botswana has the biggest amount of highly educated people on accounting. Good. What do you need in accounting? When you do oil and gas and accounting, you do one-on-one and say, good, asset management, safety, good. We bring it down there. They have a salary. I'm sorry, I did a hackathon down there, right? For $3,000, 10 people for a full year on a project. Are you kidding me? I mean, like, I could not even get a Kuwaiti dinner for this, for 10 people. This is where you can come down, you can focus them on one area, build a solution, and you can do it in your industry in oil and gas and sell it to the other industries, right? You can go down and you can participate in the African world where you say, good, I want to buy up agriculture and water. Why do you want to do that? Because you don't want to sell to Europe or to Asia. The African market has drunk the Kool-Aid of the colonizers. They've been robbed, plundered. South Africa is heading into a crisis. What do they need? Food, water, energy. Oh, right? If you go to Botswana, the biggest meat market, the second meat producer in the world, they ship all their meat from Botswana to Argentina. Argentina repackages as Argentina meat, ships it out as expensive meat. Now that tells you something, the quality of meat they have, right? If you can do a production down there, sell to the African market. If you can do aquaponics there, right? That means you have enough market in the African market without serving out. And you are far more advanced than they are. They live off $100 for entire family for 3 months. And they're happy. They're happy. They have a different culture of living, but you can easily go down there and build up something. You are by design traders. You can build solutions from other regions that you repackage here and sell. So you can participate in the Silk Road. You are even so smart that you can say, good, what is the biggest opportunity that is in the world that nobody is using? Everybody is focusing on free zones, economic free zones. Even you have an economic free zones. Good. They are not working. Why are they not working? Because an economic free zone is where you build a framework where people come from you to attract. What would be the most intelligent thing to do? You say, we have a Kuwaiti free zone. I connect it with this free zone, this free zone, this free zone. What are you doing? Joint force, but you become the centerpiece. So KFAS can become the centerpiece to say, you know what? We want to have the best digital nomads that come here. That means you come here, you don't pay tax because you come to the economic free zones. You can stay here for 4 months, work for free, but then you have to leave. That means everything you come, you are on a project-driven element. Good. Do you know the digital nomads? It's a big, big thing, you know? Big, big thing. They are the best skills on artificial intelligence, blockchains. You know, they're like the modern hippies. They work on projects, they want to travel, they want to see the world, right? Perfect element. You can take them from Sao Paulo to here, to Spain, to Australia, and make this a hub. So you design a solution that you own the IP with, and you sell. The market is the global market, but as long as you can create this as a center. Do you see what I'm trying to do? It's not rocket science, but it's some sort. You're trying to motivate your own people to create something. If you create other people to create something, your own people will grow automatically. And I believe that KFAS is totally enabled for this. So, without describing new job role for KFAS, I just came with a nice idea. Good. Thank you very much.